Two builders have gone head to head in a wheel competition. I set out a challenge on the Discord the other day for two builders, well, in the case of a competition like this, everybody to build a flat ride that is a wheel and is themed to a fantasy theme. And the only requirement is they had to have some kind of functional shop or restaurant, I believe it was, in the build. What resulted is insane. You're seeing some previews here, but we're going to dive into each of the builds and we're going to let you decide who the winner is, who's going to take home a rank up. So on the Discord, they're going to rank up to the next build level. And honestly, this was a tough one for me. I really don't know which of these two that I like the most, but I can tell you they're both incredible builds, all in their own right. They're very different, but the similarities are kind of freaky if you think about it. There's a lot of things in these two builds that are just in common with both. So let's dive into it now. First up is Buzzleblocks, and Buzzleblocks is a newer member of the community who has built this incredible Warrior's Ring, which is a Hellion ring. It was a really interesting use of the ride itself, and yeah, it has all kinds of very interesting vantage points. The front is this unassuming fort-like look, which is really cool in my opinion, and there was also the obligatory restaurant, which unfortunately was closed whenever we made our visit, but food and drinks are available. Now it is closed, I'll admit, because I didn't open it prior to the park. It has nothing to do with Buzzleblocks' build abilities. I didn't want to linger too much on the interior of the restaurant, but it is cool, and somehow it didn't make it into my edit. Let's go ahead and enter Peep Cam and walk down the entire queue line to get a feel for how the ride feels as you approach. The queue line is really interactive. It's one of those queue lines with all kinds of little, I don't want to call them sight gags, but little prop moments which would entertain you on a long walk through the queue. Here's a boat which was suspended over the pathway. And there's a lot of other fascinating features along the way here. Most of it's just a nature walk, which is really refreshing in the game. There is also encampments along the way, which range from this, where it's kind of just raw tents and some campfire, and of course the forest around it. And I did try to like immerse each ride in like an area and did a little ground paint around. But yeah, then there's like these more detailed like little living, quarters or dwellings, almost like a fairy village. And there's portals spread out all throughout this line. And as you enter them, you kind of enter into a different part. So here it's like you're in a curse or an enchantment. And the approach up to the ride is amazing. There's just a field of these swords, that are in front of the thing, which represent the fallen Vikings. And here's the ride itself in all of its glory. Golden, adorned with the Zeus statue, and glorious. And I honestly think this is awesome. The birds are just such a nice touch on this statue, and the individual ride carts are also completely custom made and ornate. And of course, here's another great shot of those swords. Up next is Koopa666 with his creation. And Koopa is definitely one of those builders who goes over the top when they build. Here is a Greek or Roman inspired build using a Ferris wheel. And of course, the Zeus statue, which I thought was hilarious because it somehow made it into both builders' stuff, and both of their wheels were gold. There is a bridge along here, and it gets a great view of Zeus up on the hill there. Look at him. And of course, I see London, I see France. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, jokes aside, the rest of the bridge is just an awesome atmosphere. And it's actually not even the midpoint of the Q-Line experience. So we're going to go down into peep cam mode here, and I'm going to show you this 2-part Q-Line thing. So the restaurant and everything along with the actual proper Q-Line are actually halfway up the mountain. So at the bottom here we have this little village, and then these statues on pillars and like benches and trash cans. And then there's just this ambient atmosphere where you're kind of immersed as you circle the mountain. The bridge actually sits on the left-hand side of the mountain as you go up, and right before you get to the bridge, there was this cool statue laying on its side, and I thought this was really fascinating. I mean, it's jarring, but it also fits. So it kind of brings you back to reality a little bit. I'm not going to make the same I'm not going to make the same joke twice. I kind of garbled up my words there. Alright, and then of course here is the restaurant at the bottom of the main mountain. And of course, you know, to the right here after you get some vegan and soda and use the restroom is the Colosseum wheel entrance with Medusas and some pottery and some pillars and rocks. It is more or less a back and forth upward motion, and there's this really interesting feature here which I've never seen used in a Q-Line before. And there's the wheel in all of its glory set out in front of us with the sun shafts coming down through and 4 owls on pillars adorning the corners almost like a secret code. The detailing is nuts. Yeah, even the ride cards themselves are detailed through a lot like the way Bluzzleblocks did it as well. I'm happy both builders did such an amazing job with their creations. Here's one final look at Koopa's. So if you want to vote on which creator you think did a better job, and honestly, like I said, I struggle with who actually built a better ride and a ride experience, because both have this natural flow to them that just fits the ride and fits the area that they're in, and it just feels right in both cases. But go down to the description below, grab that Google form, and tell me who you think is the winner. Sunday, I'll go ahead on the Discord and announce the winner.